Oh, I think I'm back. I think my internet hiccuped up for a moment there. Hopefully you're still there, Wayland. Standard. Yeah. I should be back, though. Ignore coin weight. All right. So mostly you don't need to worry about any of that. Skip to next. You get dwarf. All right, so we picked Mountain Dwarf because that's sort of your basic dwarf. It's a dwarf people think of. And it's going to list all the things that you get. It makes it much easier than doing it from the book, but less fun. So, and it gives a little bit more flavor than you need, but what it's telling you under dark vision is that you get your dark vision out to 60 feet. You have Dwarven Resilience, which means you have resistance on or to poison damage and advantage on saving throws against poisoning effects. Dwarven Combat Training, you get your proficiency in Battle Axe, Hand Axe, Light Hammer, and Warhammer. And so, tell me to pause on any of these if you have further questions about them. But otherwise, I'll just kind of give a brief explanation. D&D has the combat of proficiency, so there's things that you know how to do and things that you don't know how to do, and then there's a level up of expertise. Although expertise doesn't apply to weapons, it only applies to skills. So what that means is that when you use one of these weapons as a dwarven character, you get your proficiency bonus attached to your attack rolls, which is good because that means you're more likely to hit. Tools. So this isn't the tool proficiency is what I was talking about. Again, you're going to get a bonus on top of. Yeah, it's going to be, I think something's wrong with my internet. I apologize for the lagginess. But let me know which tools you would want to use. It doesn't really make a lot of difference. I'm just going to pick Smith's tools because functionally speaking, that's the most useful. You can, do things like repair armor. Whereas if you're, brewing or masonry, that's more of a role-playing thing, which may or may not come up for your character if you're, helping rebuild someone's cathedral that's been knocked over in their village or something. Stone cunning gives you proficiency in the history skill. Yep, I'm back. Whenever you make an intelligence check related to the origin of stonework, you are considered proficient in the history skill and add double your proficiency bonus to the check instead of your normal. So dwarves are known as stonemasons, so you get a big bonus to that. Again, that's more of a role-playing thing. And then your dwarven armor training gives you proficiency with light and medium armors, which is how we determine what sort of armor class bonus you're going to do. Cool. I chose Smith. Yeah, the latency on the stream is huge right now. So I may be responding to your comments much later than it seems like I should. We'll move on to the next step. Let me know what class you chose. All right. Woof. All right. Rogue. Okay. So, yeah, I see why this is confusing for a new player. Okay, looks like we're back maybe. Let me just take a look at my internet service provider and see what the fudge is going on. Yay. All right. Let me go full screen since this is what we're working with. Okay, so yeah, it boils it down to the stuff you need to know. Which, probably still seems like a lot for a new player. Ba, 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 ba. And yeah, let's see, internet overview. Sorry, let me just take a quick side glance at my ISP and see if they're reporting like an outage or something, so my internet can stop sucking. Okay. Yeah, there is a benefit to doing it on paper for sure, as Manarian says. But I'll walk you through this. Um, and I'll just give you, like I said, I'll give you a brief overview of the concepts. If you have questions, feel free to chime in. So you get your hit points. Your hit points are going to be a D8, which means that the total hit points you have at each level are determined based on the roll of a 8-sided die. So the value can be 1 through 8 plus your constitution modifier, and we'll end up deciding what your constitution stats are like later. I actually got hooked on the light mace, and I thought it would be cool to get dual mace rogue that hits heads. Yeah. Yep, you could be whacking. I think, does a light mace, is there a light mace? D&D. D&D 5e weapons. Oh. Light hammer. Oh, light hammer. You could definitely be doing hammers. Yep. Yep. Okay. So your hit points, the amount of life you have, is based on a D8. You automatically get the full die at the first level. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Can I? There we go. So it's 8 plus your con modifier, and hit points at higher levels are 1d8 or 5. And why it says or 5 is because it lets you take the average, which most people do. Most people don't want to have their health be based on one roll and, end up rolling ones or twos on a bunch of their levels and not have a lot of health. So usually people take the average, or 5 on a d8. Your proficiencies. So it's already listing out everything that you've gotten so far. Your light armor, your simple weapons, hand crossbows, rapiers. Oh no, this is just your proficiencies from... It isn't including the proficiencies from your race, I don't think. Light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, long swords, rapiers, short swords. Those are the weapons you're good with. Dwarves aren't natively dexy. So you'll have to pump some more of your points depending on how you want to do stats. But yeah. Saving throws are dex and intelligence. Those are the saving throws you're good at. I don't know if you're familiar with the concepts of saving throws. We can talk about that, though. And then you get acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Yeah, not their strong suit, but you could still have a dwarf rogue. That shouldn't limit your choices there. So what should your rogue be good at, I guess, is the question here. Are they good at acrobatics? So, jumping and climbing, athletics, doing strength stuff. Do gnomes get a bonus on racial bonuses? 5e. That would make sense, since gnomes are like the tinkery ones. They get int, yeah. Who's dex? Elves are dex, halflings are dex. Some genasi get a little bump. Tieflings. Gerblins. Lots of gerblins. Anyways. But there's no reason not. I mean, you don't always have to make the most optimum decision. So... sleight of hand and stealth are always popular for your rogue, because sleight of hand's how you're going to do your thievery. If you want to take stuff from people's pockets. Stealth is how you're going to make your stealth checks, which is one of the ways that you're going to be able to do extra damage on attacks as a rogue. Perception. Because often your rogue is going to be the one looking for traps or ambushes, or doing the figuring out of things. And deception. Deception's a good one. That's when you're lying. If you try to tell an NPC a lie, your DM may ask you for a deception check to see if that lie is believed. Still there, Waylent? Let me know if you're still hanging on. And then expertise. Expertise I was talking about how you have your proficiency bonus, which makes you better at things. Expertise doubles your proficiency bonus. Rad, you're still there. I would definitely choose expertise in stealth because people who do a rogue typically want to do a lot of sneaking. And thieves' tools. Thieves' tools would be good to be expert into. That's how you pick locks, open up chests, things like that. Disarm traps. Thieves' tools are gonna come into play there. At level 1, you get your sneak attack. Beginning at first level, you know how to subtly exploit your foe's distraction once per turn. You can deal an extra d6 damage on a creature you hit with an attack you have advantage on the attack roll of. The attack must use finesse or ranged weapons. You don't need... and that might be the problem with your... hammers. I don't know that hammers are going to be finesse. What about a flail? Is flail... Flail. Nope. Yeah, so that's going to be the sticking point. And if I were you, I'd see if maybe your DM wants to let you slide on that and call a light hammer finesse weapon, so that you can get your attack damage bonuses with your sneak attack on your hammers. I can't see why not. I would do it as the DM, but that's just me. I'm a bit of a softie. Finesse. Oops. Yeah, finesse indicates that the weapon is like a skilled weapon. Like you're not bludgeoning away with it. You're kind of surgically striking at your opponent with it, like a rapier. Let's see, what do they give finesse? A dagger can be a finesse weapon. A dart can be a finesse weapon. And what that means technically in the game is that you're using your dexterity instead of your strength. Yep. Here we go. When making... oh, hold on. I lost my music. I want my music back. There we go. It's all better with music. When making an attack with a finesse weapon, you use your choice of strength or dexterity for the attacks and damage rolls. You must use the same modifier for both rolls. It's not a matter of the proficiency. Either way, you know to use them. Hand axe. Yeah, hand axes are light and thrown, not finesse. Finesse, scimitar, short sword, and finesse. A whip is finesse. Yeah. Like I said, talk to your DM. They can mod these rules for you. Or you can think of, like you're saying, maybe there's like a light mace or some other thing. What's the dice size on a mace? Is D6. A light hammer is D4. Hand axe is D6. Where is short sword? Short sword's D6. Or short bow, sorry. Short sword, D6. D6 is, or short sword is finesse and light. So yeah, I'm just telling you, by the rules, technically speaking, your light hammer's not going to apply. But see if you're DM will let you reflavor a short sword as a bludgeoning weapon of some sort, some sort of mace. I feel like there's ample justification for thieves clubbing people unconscious as opposed to stabbing them. Yeah. Yep. But anyways, you'll need to figure that out for sneak attack. Thieves can't. It's just sort of like a mini language that lets you communicate with other thieves sneakily. Nothing to worry about too much. All right. So here's where the rubber sort of starts to hit the road. You need to choose a stat generation method so you can get your ability scores. You can do... Yeah. It's really it's a little technicality, Wayland, but it's going to matter to your DM, so you're going to want to discuss it with them. All right. So, did you get this far, Wayland, or not as far as stats? For a new player, either way, I would recommend Standard Array, which just gives you a preset set of scores 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 15 to assign to each of your different stats. Uh-oh, Wayland. Wayland, you went Cyrillic, and I don't do Cyrillic stats. I randomize. Oh, okay. I would recommend not doing that. You're really going to want to make sure you've got a high stat in dexterity, because that's really the like bread and butter of the rogue is high dexterity. Really important. Wisdom, also very important, but so is Constitution, because Constitution is going to help determine how much health you have. And although as a rogue you want to do your best to avoid getting hit, you're going to get hit, and you don't want to fold up after a couple shots. After you get pegged. Pardon me. After you get pegged a couple times. I would probably go 14, 13. Charisma is also kind of important. Go give yourself average intelligence and then make strength your dump stat, because you're still going to get your +2 racial bonus for being a dwarf. Uh-oh. Oh shit, I might have been talking while the ad break was rolling. So what I was saying was, I understand your interest in rolling stats at random, but I would choose the standard array for a new player. Throw yourself a 15 in dex, that's your most important stat as a rogue. Oh, you're getting a +1 bump on con, right? Racial bonus at 2. 15, 14, 16. Oh shit, I guess you rolled really good. Oh, well, let's put it together with your manual roll. 16, 15. Assuming you rolled all this correctly, 14, because it's really high. 16, 13, 15. That's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty good stats. It'd be better to have it more distributed towards your dexterity, because that's, again, really what's going to make most of your plays as a rogue, is dexterity. But, you're smarter than you need to be, too. Does it let me choose stuff that's not? Oh, wow. Well, that's nice of it. It will let me choose. What'd you choose for a background? No. I would say int is not important for rogues. Unless you were doing something like a... what's it called? The magic-y rogue. Criminal spy. I'm totally blanking on the name of the arcane trickster. I don't know if an arcane trickster... Yeah, I don't know if an arcane trickster uses intelligence or not. Huh. What if I signed in? Would you give it to me then? No, I have this content on Roll20. Checks and int as proficiencies. Right now it's looking at skill proficiencies, though. And it's not telling me what we already selected. Oh no, it is definitely removing those. It's removing the ones that are already selected. So, what about things that are based on those? Like acrobatics and history. Acrobatics is based on your dexterity. History is based on your intelligence. Choose dice set and... Happens to the best of us. During a game I held yesterday for my group, the words carriage and cart were on the tip of my tongue the whole time. You're like the rolly thing with the horses. Yeah, you get on it. If I had to choose here. Hey, Fallen K, how's it going? I'm doing well. We're just walking Wayland through the character creator. Brewer supplies, okay. I was going to say carpenter's tools, because as a player, I'd argue I can do cool stuff like remove doors from doors from their hinges more easily. Criminal contact. That, again, is a role-playing thing and less of a mechanical thing. You have a source of information who's a criminal who you can reach out to get information. So, like, I don't know, trying to break into a palace dungeon, you can tell your DM you want to make a roll and try and get some useful information, or, you know a time when the guard change is happening to get in more easily. Suggested characteristics. Ah, Manarian, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. So these suggested characteristics, you don't have to use them. They suggest them because they give you kind of role-playing what's the word? I have a question. Why history? I think you already have proficiency in... At this point, yeah, you've already taken proficiency in perception. So it's sort of a matter of what are you going to pull next. And, I mean, you could do persuasion. I mean, you could do any of them. It just sort of depends on persuasion. All right. No worries. You said you had a backstory as such in mind. You could always put that manually. Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is if you've got your backstory in mind, it's good. But these just give you kind of pithy little pointers to base your character's behavior on. So, like, I would rather make a new friend than a new enemy. So from that, you know, like, when you enter into a conversation, you're not likely to start threatening people. Or you're going to try and avoid combat when you can. Fallen K asks, is this a good character creator? At the moment, I just edit a PDF of a character sheet, which isn't that great. This seems pretty good. You're going to be limited by what they offer for free and what you've purchased on D&D Beyond. In a couple cases, I think it gives you more information than you need, but it's not bad. I like it. All right. So I'm going to leave those blank for now, and you can think about them if you want to. Yeah, it is D&D Beyond. Wayland, did you decide on an alignment? Do you understand alignment? No, I mean, like, did you choose an alignment? Alignment kind of describes your character's relationship to the world, whether they're good or evil, and whether they are law-abiding or chaotic are the two axes. A lot of people assume that, like, if you choose evil, lawful neutral. That's pretty good. Lawful neutral individuals act in accordance with law, tradition, or personal codes. Many monks and some wizards are lawful neutral. You can specify a faith if you want, although that's not necessary. And I wouldn't bother specifying a lifestyle. That's sort of up to your DM and the situations they put you to, and if they want to be detailed enough to charge you money every day for how you're living. It's not a thing I usually do. Uh, hair, skin, height. Yeah, you can assign whatever you want there. They don't list out heights for dwarves. Helps if I spell dwarf correctly. Yeah, I don't bother with that. If you want a really gritty, crunchy game where you're dwarves, races, dwarf. Where's the height? Oh, I know. Somewhere there's an average height for dwarves. You don't really have to specify it. You're good on age, great. But assume they're shorter. Again, it's good just to have a general idea about that. Hair, eyes, skin, personal characteristics. That was in the traits that they listed above. I wonder why they... Oh, I see. They give you the refined list. Huh, no, either way, they give you the list for the class. You can plug those in. Notes. Yeah, you can add your backstory here if you want. Current inventory. Personal possessions, add items. Again, for flaws, I mean, it's good from a role-playing standpoint. Give me just a second. I gotta go let my dog in. He's being a butt. Oh, thanks for the follow, Waylon. I'll be right back. All right. So what picking these does, not only giving you a cue to how to play your character, but also gives your dungeon master like a way of creating drama for your character. So, like, if you choose an innocent person is in prison for a crime that I committed, I'm okay with that. The dungeon master can, have other people know that, and that damages your credibility with those people, or how they're going to treat you, or maybe that person gets released and they start stalking the party and messing up your life. What I'd say is, talk it over with your dungeon master, see how much they're gonna play into those before you're like really committed to them being part of who you are. But they're good to have. I wouldn't not do them. Yeah, RP thing for sure. Starting equipment. All right. So when you get to the equipment page, it's weird it's not showing it as a button. Let me refresh it and see if that clears it up. Nope. Equipment. Is that a question for me, Manarian, or for Wayland? For me, like RPG video games, my entire life that I can remember. D&D in specific, over a decade now. A little bit over a decade. All right. So, tabletop specifically, yeah. Let's see, 13, a little bit before that. Yeah, 12 or 13 years now. Got a little bit of a late start. So if I were you, I'd go short sword, short bow, burglar's pack, and then the things that they give you here. The reasoning on a short sword, it's tough. Either one of these is a finesse weapon, but it's nice to be able to have something you can offhand with. So if you find another short sword, you can offhand, or if you can talk your DM into doing a finesse bludgeoning weapon of some sort, I'd base it on the short sword, which deals a d6 in damage. I'm pretty new to the whole thing. Only recently found a group willing to play, but a few years ago I dabbled here and there. Not much success. Yeah, I started with my kids and family, and then they couldn't get away from me easily. And then I moved online, and it's pretty easy to find players online if you're willing to run. Trick is finding nice people to play with. Yeah. Like I said, though, really talk to your DM. This should be a thing they're willing to be flexible about. Can't guarantee it. You could go straight away to having 2 short swords, and then you can attack once with your main hand and once with your offhand. But a short bow is nice to have. It's good to be able to avoid. And you're going to be able to do things like hide on your turn and then shoot with advantage from long range. And minimize the amount of getting your butt kicked that you do, because you're not going to be good at taking damage, especially level 1 is really tough. It's really easy to get knocked out at level 1. So we'll add the starting equipment. And with that Thieves Pack, you get a lot of little fun stuff. Candles, a bell, hammer, oil flask, some rations. You got your thieves' tools that we were talking about earlier. Let's see. go through and equip the things you want. Equip your short sword. Can I wield both short sword and short bow? There's stuff to talk about there, but I don't know if it's the best place to have that conversation now. View character sheet. And there you go. You've got your character sheet. Questions? Got any questions? My question is, why the fudge isn't my computer charging? It is mad inconvenient for me. Also, too, did my internet just die again? And Wayland, are you going to be playing in person or are you going to be playing online? How's your DM running that game? Just started, so I look for D&D for beginners. Ah, okay. Roll20 is a good place to look. I don't know how many people are actually running on Forge VTT. But you can search for groups playing there as well. If you're looking for an online game, or roll20.net. I've had a lot of luck finding people to play with on Roll20. Again, there are more players than there are people to run the game, which, you know, usually it's like 4-to-1, 5-to-1. But there aren't enough for everybody, but, you know, being polite and engaged and maybe a little persistent, you can find your way into someone's game. And just because the DM is running the game, they do have final say on the rules, but that doesn't give them the right to be an asshole. So, sorry, English is not my native language, and it's hard to me speak more than write in the Reddit and Discord communities. True, that's another good place to work. Look, you might be able to find people in your home country a little easier there as well. But if you're using D&D Beyond, then from here you can roll all your different stats and your attacks and your damages. And that makes it much easier to play. But again, I agree with what Minarian said as well, is if you can do it all on paper, that works too. In terms of learning the systems. All right, I was thinking about a map. Where is Photoshop? Oh yeah, I agree with Minarian. Your English is much better than my whatever your language is. All right. Cool. I hope that helped. And you're feeling more confident. It's not so bad. I think I need bigger. Hatching template. Well, okay. See you when you're back. So, another viewer. Google Translate's the best. Another viewer was talking to me about their dragon. They've got a brass and white headed dragon. It's a monstrosity, mostly ground dwelling, although it still flies. But I need a map, which I do not have one right now, that is underground, that is, earthen tunnels that the monsters can dig their way around in. So I'm going to start thinking about that. But let's swap screens. Too many TikToks about dragons and bards. I am not a frequent user of TikTok, so don't have a lot of experience with that topic. What was I looking for? Oh, yeah. Only tablet. There it is. All right, so I liked how one warrior who specializes in close combat tried to strangle the dragon, and when it took off, he simply tied its wings. think the character archetype memes are pretty funny, but when players try to base their characters on that, it becomes a little annoying and cliche. I could see that. I am not much of a TikToker. I am not familiar. I should probably get out there. All right, so let's zoom out a little bit. Get the general shape of things. Did I create myself a sketch pen? No, I didn't. Oh. I think once at a time I tried to be a bard. My tablet is set to the wrong screen. I almost rated out accidentally. Working area. Yep. There we go. Now I should be in the right spot. Yep. All right, so YouTube shorts are also funny. I saw a lot about Noble Knight and the Wizard. I'll have to check those out. I can't see what I'm drawing here. I'm too far back. All right, so I want kind of a large amorphous central chamber. Maybe with like a pet in the middle. Personally, I don't use TikTok, but I found YouTube shorts taking up a large amount of my time. Yeah, my let's say that's like minus 10 feet. A lot of my wife's time seems to get absorbed by YouTube. Okay, let's say they're like outlying blobby chambers. Looking for MILF and Willa. Not sure what that means. But I don't want the rooms to be too obviously located. So maybe they're sort of offset from each other. Do some like smaller chambers, intermediary spaces. Ah, Fallen's back. Do a big oddly shaped one along here. A beautiful woman I'd like to ask. Ah. That seems much more gentlemanly than the other one. I gotta think about the size of these, because I'm gonna want my bigger monsters to be able to find their way around in here too. Yeah, go for it, Fallen. Oops. Oops, if I'm drawing, not erasing. You can add caves behind the waterfall and transitions between levels. Like that. I'll do some of the rooms separated by waterfalls. All right. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. Okay, yeah, the map's about 200 feet across. That's pretty good sized. I think we'll start there. So hear me out. Variant human fighter taking the healer feat, using the protective fighting style and battle master combat style, picking more supportive maneuvers. The idea is that you are not going to die while beside this guy. I like it. I like it. I mean, the obvious rejoinder is that that's more what a paladin is for, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. TF2 medic build. Is that right? It's like Oath or Divine Blessing. I wonder if you could do multi-class. That's clearly the wrong thing. There we go. I just didn't name it well. That's what I get. More of the heavy because he's a meat shield that still does good damage while healers. Kit is like heavy sandwich, yeah. Three wide. Not magic healer. Yeah, that makes sense. Gonna need a stack of potions though. Two, three. Yeah, all these tunnels are hard to get as wide as I need them to be. Just a little bit of a bulgy room here. This hallway is a little narrower, though. Oh yeah, actually I like that. Let's make this much narrower. Ah shit, I'm drawing on my goddamn layers. Control Z. Let's undo all that. Forgot to switch layers before I started drawing. Oh well, things are better the second time. Sing Eat It by Weird Al. Nice. Sandwich makers me strong. I knew what you meant, but unfortunately I tend to read a little bit automatically. A bard named Peculiar Alvin. I like it. Hey, Lion Cormair. How's it going? I am not winning at mapping because I started drawing in my wall lines on my sketching layer, which is not great. How about adding some beer to your favorite brewer? Yeah. Everybody likes a little beer. Okay, now am I on the right layer before I fuck up again? There we go. Making a horse mech and lancer. Nice. Lion, I haven't had the pleasure of playing Lancer. Guessing by the fact that you're spending time on it that you like it. Lancer is great. It's got by the guy who made Kill 6 Billion Demons. Art is great. Story is great. Combat is great. Mech building is great. So many silly things you can make. Fallen. Yeah. I think that's how you know you're a player, when you're a like hero generation system. That's one way to know that's your preference. Lion, off to check it out. That sounds cool. Uh so I actually, in response to what Marion said about preferring Theater of the Mind, I love Theater of the Mind in other systems than D&D. I have a really hard time with Theater of the Mind in D&D because so much is specified that it feels weird not to use the information that's given. And one of the things that's great about the virtual tabletop is that it makes it easier to do things like dynamic lighting and have players have their vision type actually matter. It's really great in Foundry. It's very easy. Um, um, you have 70 characters and 70 Pathfinder characters. Yeah. You might have a character creation problem if... yeah, that's what I was going to guess. Lancer combat system doesn't really work in Theater of the Mind because it's very much a tactics game, moving enemies around in cover, and obstruction is the big part of the combat. Non-mech play is all Theater of the Mind usually. Yeah, yeah. When you're out of the combat action. Same thing in D&D. It's much easier to justify Theater of the Mind, especially because D&D rules are so sparse around like social encounters, non-combat. It's just very, very thin part of the system. It's quite similar, more number crunchy, but I'd say playing it for almost 2 and DMing for about 11. Yeah. Oh, it's totally doable. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm saying it's hard for me because if I'm going to do Theater of the Mind, I want to do a different system. Um, I really love like Powered by the Apocalypse games. I love Monster of the Week, and that's fun. It's Theater of the Mind, and but you can also like quickly negotiate like simple maps with your players. So you can be like, you can have an idea of a space like, oh yeah, you're following a vampire into a cafe, and the vampire figures out that you're following them and is ready for a fight. So then you can have a basic idea for the space, and it works very well with the rules work very well with like being like, okay, this space has 3 sections. There's the front of the cafe, there's like a bar space, and then there's a kitchen space. And then movement's like, okay, well, I move from space X to space Y. But you can also negotiate with your players like, okay, so what else do you see in this? What else do you see in this cafe? And you can have like a much more collaborative approach to what's in the world if you've got players who like that sort of thing. What did Wayland say? I never think about Pathfinder. Pathfinder is based on D&D, and in a lot of ways is very similar to D&D. I think, yeah, it's more crunchy, although that depends on the edition. I think there's less crunch in Pathfinder 2 than there was in 1, because 1 was based on a very crunchy version of D&D. The players I know who really like it because you get more things you can do in your turn, and they have generally more positive feelings towards the organization of Pathfinder than they do towards Wizard of the Coast, which is more of a giant corporation that people have hard feelings towards. Oh, okay. Yeah, 1E's Crunch Down. I've been trying my hand at creating my own system. It's very D&D adjacent right now because that's the system I have the most experience with, but I hope to be able to play a lot more systems in the future. Yep. I already have my sights set on a few. Yeah, Pathfinder 1E is based on D&D 3.5. Give a really narrow tunnel here. Ugh, my dogs are being the worst today. I'll be right back. All right. Put my stupid dogs back outside so they can be stupid out there for a while until they get loud out there, and then I'll have to bring them back in. Oof. These dogs. Dogs these days, man. Can't live with them, can't live without them. All right, how are we doing? I think I got all the connections. I definitely say that if you played either Pathfinder or D&D, learning the other. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, Minarian. Hopefully we'll see you back around some other time. Have a great rest of your day, whatever time it is. Thanks for hanging out. It's good talking to you. All right, let's turn off that sketch. Missed a line in here. I'm gonna need this passageway a little bit bigger. So the trick for me is that I use my maps for a lot of purposes, for a lot of different monster fights. If you know exactly what monster is going on the map, then you can play a lot more to their strengths or weaknesses with different parts of the maps, but I need my maps to be general purpose because I use them in the arena where I randomly generate my fights. And so I try to keep passageways about 3 squares wide, about 15 feet, so that the majority of monsters, unless they're real big, can navigate them. It's about 3 wide. That's only about 2. Oh, Fallen K's heading to bed soon. Good night, Fallen. Rest easy. One, 2, 3-ish. Oh, that dog. Dog is killing me right now. Edit, redo eraser. see how we're looking. Pretty nice. Pretty classy. All right. Why is that coming through like that? It's not what the other one looked like. Am I not pressing hard enough? Oh, I fucked everything up now. Man, what did I do? Didn't change opacity, didn't change flow. Doesn't look the same, does it? No, it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm not crazy. It's not the same. Let's just select a general brush. Hard round, pressure sensitive. Brush tool, do eraser. Do brush tool. Control C. Do brush tool. I want to see what did it though. There we go. That's weird. Don't know what did that. Stick with my hard wound round wall tool. Again, my color's all forked up. Alright, set all my internal ones. So just gotta do a loop around the outside. about an hour left to go on stream. Let's see how much of this map I can knock out. Oof, wandered through that wall a lot. Should be getting close. There it is. All the way around. Oops, missed a spot. Or I just erased it accidentally, one of the two. Detail. And my detail line. out of there. Let's presume a change in elevation over here too. Hey, average teller. Yep, working on the environment for the encounter. Let's have an elevation change over here as well. Do I have a water fill? All right. Better shadows. Shadows. I think that shadow went in a little dark. There we go. Just need a slightly lighter hand with it. am sloppy. See how we're doing. Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So here's what I'm thinking. Like, this is going to be a more general... my maps get reused a lot, because the players get to select the arena they fight in. So I'm trying to make this a little general purpose too. But... let me set this up right. So what I'm going to do is have the players entering in this central area. And that's going to be like where a river is pouring into this cavern. So in that central area, it's like a sinkhole where the water is all pouring in. So there's a waterfall all the way around the edges, right? So they climb down inside this waterfall area and they're ringed so they can't see the cave. For me, that's important because I need to have the players sort of screened off from the monsters and vice versa. So you've got your burrowing speed, right? So there's lots of good walls we can duck through. And then what I would do is, like you were saying, make this a den for the wyverns. So, the dragon shows up, wrecks house a little bit, beats some ass, takes a couple shots, and then dives through a wall or runs off down a cavern. And you can have, wyvern, I never know which way I'm going to say it, wyvern nest set up. in these different chambers that it leads them to. So they, get a little bit of a taste of the monster, and then it leads them on a goose chase, a wyvern chase, and they end up stuck fighting other monsters, and it can either flee or, join its reinforcements. What do you think? So it's sort of doing a bit of a hit and run. Dragons aren't always the best stand-up fighters, because generally speaking, their AC is not that high. I've been told they're intended to be played as hit and run monsters, which I don't usually end up doing, but yeah. Dang it. Deleted more than I wanted to there. Fair enough. They could be stuck. So they may need another way out. Oh, shit. Didn't mean to delete that. Not trying to rotate right now. If I needed an easy escape, say that the players noticed that there's a that, at the center of this here, there's a, yeah, assuming they climbed out down in a reasonable way, they'd be able to use their rope to get back up. Or we could do like an underground river entrance here, and then, make them do checks to see how they survive, how badly battered they are trying to navigate an underground river to escape from this thing. Gotta punish him a little bit for running, right? For me, for running the arena, they don't get a chance to run. So it's not quite as relevant to me. But for the purposes of the campaign, yeah, they probably need a way to escape, because if there's tons of wyverns in here, they're going to get in over their head pretty easily. Unless they're real careful about the combat. Okay, got about 30 minutes left to work on this. All right. Central well is shited. Still got to do the edges though. I'm going to say this area is actually the depressed area. So the waterfall into this cave makes a bit of a lake that also has a tunnel leading the water outside. Yes, yeah. So more of a, let's see, how big is it? View, show, grid. That lake, or that pond, is 20 feet across, roughly. And there kind of has to be a drain, right? Otherwise the cave system would just fill in. Just be a underwater cave. So yeah, there's another tunnel system that leads like back to a resurfacing of this waterway. View, get rid of that grid. And like, instead of fully mapping that out for me in a campaign, like I said, I would just make them do like a skill challenge to see how they, you know, how badly battered they get swimming through an underwater cave. Or like maybe they pull a survival check or a nature check and they find like a underwater, they find a cavern along that cave system that they can pop up into and take their long rest and then come back and fight this thing. Maybe with a little bit of surprise. That's going to be on the players to sort out, though. You could also narrow down this area into a place where they can have safe harbor. Provided I make the tunnels narrow enough that nothing can fit in. But you have to go down pretty small to keep your wyverns and your... How big is a wyvern? Wyvern is large. So even a 5-foot wide tunnel they're going to be able to jam themselves into. Although I always like that as a mechanic in combat for players to trick or draw monsters into areas too narrow for them. So then the monster's at disadvantage and they're at advantage. It's always a nice mechanic to play with, squeezing. Oh, catch you later, Average Teller. helps if I change layers. Oh, shit. Oh, if you're still there, I don't know if I made it better. I just, once you start fleshing things out, putting them in map, you start to see how things fit together. Floor fill. Damn it. Didn't mean to do that. Edit. 3D brush tool. Back to the proper color. Hey, Cosmic Purge. How you doing? Busy working on a cave map for a subterranean encounter. Having issues with balancing an OP item, I have planned on giving one of the members of a late game enemy party. Working for Big Bad Evil Guy. Oh, tell me more. Where can I send the info? Twitch chat is too tiny as only a 500 character limit. Do you got Discord? Oh, how did my dog get outside again? All right, hold on just a minute. Oh, maybe he's not outside. Maybe he's just freaking out in the living room over my head. Cute. Oh, yeah, I have the new simplified. Try that as my Discord screen name. I gotta go figure out why my dog's freaking out. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm only going to be on stream for about another 11 minutes. So I'll try to do what helping I can in that amount of time. Come on, there we go. Friend request. Oh. Pending. All right, should be accepted now. Alright, gauntlets for generous. Item type, gauntlets, defensive and offensive. Requires attunement, yes, by barbarian fighter or monk. Legendary, but +3 bonus. AC +4. 1 normally, +3 from rarity. Properties heavy. To hit, melee, strength, +3, damage dice, d10. This item holds 2 charges, 1 charge with each gauntlet. When expended, each charge is regained 7 days later at dawn after it is expended. Both charges are counted independently of each other. Effect 1. Passive grants +3 to strength. Normal limit of 20 is ignored, and a temporary +1 to dexterity whenever you use a reaction. But just for that reaction's duration. Additionally, all skills using strength and dexterity are made with advantage, with the exception of sleight of hand. Effect 2, after taking melee damage when you hit a creature that last attacked you back, deal double damage, the damage they dealt to you. Example, if they hit you for 10 HP and you hit them next turn, you deal 20 damage. This stacks with critical. The effect can only apply to melee damage, non-magical and magical. If you have not yet been hit by a melee attack, roll to attack as if using any other weapon. Weapons damage is d10 plus strength +3. As magical bludgeoning if you are a monk or another class that allows it. Swap the damage modifier from strength to dexterity. Oh, sounds pretty good. It's like tier 4 you were saying? What's going wrong? Effect 3 is the most OP part. No. Shoot. Sorry, I didn't scroll down. Reviving Jolt. When a creature attuned to it and wearing this item falls to 0 hit points by any means, including the spell Disintegrate. Since the gauntlets are not destroyed with the creature, roll a d4. The creature heals using hit/recovery dice equal to the d4's result, with the higher dice prioritized. Example, if you roll a 3 on the d4, the creature's a monk fighter, they heal for 2d10 and 1d8 of their hit dice. That doesn't seem that bad to me. I mean, max they're going to get would be 28 hit points. Hopefully they're using that time to run, because 28 hit points isn't much in a high tier combat. Wearing it falls to hit points by any means. I don't know, I'd let the Disintegrate spell bypass it, but because there's nothing left to heal. But that's, it is what it is. Oh, I guess if you rolled a 4, then 38 hit points maximum, but they're not going to roll that high. But I don't know. And they still have to have a charge, right? Yeah. Only got 2. Might be coming back to life twice, but they're not coming back to a lot of life. I guess, are you worried about it as applies to the big bad evil guy in combat, or as it applies to once the players take it from him? I think it's OP because the effect bypasses insta-death that is Disintegrate. I mean, yeah, I agree. I don't know that makes it OP. But it does. It does certainly. I don't know. Do your players like to disintegrate you a lot? If you need to stop them, this legendary item Disintegrate specifically states that magic items are destroyed. I mean, if they're targeted, I believe. Let me bring up Disintegrate. Oh yeah, magical items. It's just regular items that get disintegrated. I mean, again, I don't think it doesn't feel that OP to me. If, like you're saying, it's getting applied late in the game. By level 15, players are alarmingly good at murdering your monsters, so giving them the ability to come back seems fair. Time is that? You didn't make it a relic, so it can still be stopped by an anti-magic field. At least I didn't see where you listed it as a relic. Or artifact, rather, sorry. I always say the wrong word. Artifact. Let's see. It'll be introduced at around 17 plus into the fully homeroom campaign. I've been working on it slowly for 2 years and have no people to play it in it yet. Oh. Well, I do what I like to call the Dungeon Sports Coliseum here on this channel, which is all D&D 5e combat. I end up with we cycle through the levels, so we do combat. I do a lot of high level combats. And based on my experience with high level combats, I think you'd be fine with this item in it. I think you're good. It is very powerful. If you look at like the items, especially from Wildmount and the Tal'Dorei campaign setting, they have a lot of very powerful boss, big bad evil guy equipment that either throws out a shit ton of damage or does things with healing. And they all work. And in your homebrew campaign, you're more likely to be able to modify things to be able to handle it. If you end up giving it to your monk and it makes the monk fight player too powerful, you'll find ways to nerf it. Like I said, anti-magic field's going to work on this thing because you haven't listed it as an artifact. So, you know, there's a beholder in the situation or some celestials that can stop magic, then this thing gets nerfed and can't be used to revive. And maybe learning that's one of the ways that the players prepare for the fight with this character is to know that they're going to have to get him in an anti-magic field in order to be able to kill him permanently, or, you know, tap out the charges on the gauntlet. Personally, if I owned them, I'd never use the charges for anything but not dying. But, you know, I have an unhealthy attachment to living, perhaps. All that said, I do have to wrap up the stream, Cosmic Purge. Thank you for stopping by. If you have any more questions, you can pitch them at me in Discord, and I'll do my best to answer them, although I'm going to be AFK for a while. I'm going to get us rated out. Let's see who we're going to watch. Yeah, let's go see what the Crown DM is up to.
Look at me. I just know stuff. Ice-T's.
I just know stuff. All right, man.
Oh yeah? You know stuff, Ice-T? You know stuff?
Don't look at me.
He just knows stuff. He just knows stuff.
Oh my god.